Belichick and Cam. We did have Julian Edelman has tweeted at Cam. You retweeted in my timeline. You made me aware of the Cam farewell video with Boys to
It's
Men.
so hard to say goodbye.
Why is Cam's goodbye 10 times better than the Panthers' goodbye to Cam?
Cam's got some fire content. I'll give him that. Fire content for Cam.
I mean,
good content creator.
The video was so good.
Yeah, I think Cam, and I've been saying this for a while, anytime you take a job seriously or a relationship seriously, when you get broken up with, even if clearly Cam this last couple years have been weird, it's hard, man. I do understand. He probably knows he needed a new start. Now, he said a couple times, I did not want to leave the Panthers. Because I think he did not want to leave the Panthers. Though, I think he'll look back in a couple years and go, that's the best thing that ever happened to me, potentially. Because they're going a different direction. I need to go in a different direction. But I think you see the genuine, I don't think this is easy for him, right? Now, part of it's taking a huge pay cut. But as I talked to someone yesterday, he's so rich. It's not, he's going to end up making a lot of money. His brand's big. It's, if he can resurrect his career, he'll make huge cash immediately next year. I think it's more of just you fuckers don't want me? Like this franchise?
Yeah.
Remember when Ron Rivera said it, I thought, perfectly in his press conference when he said, when I went into a store, you could not find a Carolina shirt, let alone seeing someone wear Panther hats and shirts. And he's like, now you can't go anywhere without people taking a lot of pride. And listen, Ron was a huge part of it. But I think the number one reason for the brand stuff and the reason I think you see every 15-year-old kid is that dude resonated. I know he doesn't have the success, but is there a level of Steph Curry type impact in that little area of just an NFL superstar that you go, Cam Newton's our guy? And he's going to war in that division, which I don't like the AFC South. I actually don't mind the NFC South, where you just go, our guy goes against Matt Ryan and Drew Brees and Hanks, right? So you take a lot of pride in him.
Yeah, my guess would be, too, it's not even about the local impact, right? It would be the whole I'm going to be your mom's favorite quarterback commercial. Like Cam, I would bet you go into a mall in Indiana, and all of a sudden there were Panthers jerseys where there weren't Panthers jerseys before, right?
Yeah. They became a cool brand because of him.
And
then he was told to kick rocks.
One of my takes developed over the last couple of days is kind of thinking about, because I hadn't spent a lot of time thinking about what the Patriots' ceiling or floor was going to be this year without pre-Cam Newton, other than to say it was going to be interesting. But I think you made the point on the last podcast. I think you're right. They were going to be an interesting story. They were not going to be appointment viewing every Sunday like the Bucs are going to be. But so, now please shoot holes in this part of it, because it's not really that many games. Belichick in his Patriots career, I'm taking out his Jets and certainly taking out his Browns time. His Jets time, you can't even take out. It doesn't exist. But in his Patriots career, he won 237 games and has lost 83. That's Bill. 237 and 83. Brady, 219 and 64. So a lot of their winning done together, and boy, it was a lot of winning. That means Bill was 18 and 19 without Tom. Not a ton of games, not consistent over any era, right? It's spread out. It's got some Castle. It's got some Garoppolo. It's got some Brissett, and of course, it's got Bledsoe. But basically, Bill is a 500 coach in New England without Tom. I'd say that's pretty good. It doesn't mean Bill needs Tom. Being a 500 coach without Tom Brady, usually in weird circumstances, right, because it's a guy getting hurt or suspended, is pretty good. By that measure, I think we can reasonably say, with Jarrett Stidham's the quarterback for 16 games, it's reasonable to say the Patriots were going to be a 7-9 or an 8-8 team, right? Now, people might say, oh, what about their this or their that or what they lost? Maybe you want to make an argument that they're going to win 6 games. I would not make that argument this year. So that's good. That if you told me the Patriots were 8-8 this year with Jarrett Stidham, I'd say that's pretty impressive from Bill Belichick. Now, if Cam's healthy, this is 10, 11, perhaps. And the conclusion I reached through going through all of that is that they need Cam more than Cam needs them. They need Cam to be healthy more than Cam needed to be on their team.
I'm gonna push back because I would siphon out the first year he was there.
The
He went
Bledsoe
5-11. The Bledsoe year. He was still, to me, Cleveland Browns Belichick. A lot of unknown. Was not viewed what he became. I would say post 2001, once he makes Brady the quarterback, and they go 11-5 and they win their first Super Bowl. For the next 19 years, if you take out that 5-11 season, he's 13-8 with Castle, with Jacoby, with Garoppolo. You know, he obviously won the 11 games with Castle. He won multiple games with Jimmy, and he won one with Jacoby. So actually, am my math wrong? Yeah. So I view Belichick as, now I think this year was weird. Like, we knew at the time when Tom got suspended, I think Jimmy was highly thought of. Like, they have this legit backup. No one's really seen him beside preseason, but like, I think this guy's got a chance to be good. And they had kind of been hyping him up. So it wasn't out of the realm of possibility once Jimmy had the game and a half before he got hurt against the Dolphins, where it's like, okay, this kid's pretty good. Now, Jacoby was a major mystery. So there was a huge mystery this year because the Stidham hype was not the Garoppolo hype, right? He was a later pick. A lot of like, well, you know, the Auburn, not a great scheme fit. Belichick, they think they could work some stuff better. There was a lot of unknowns. Like Cam, there's way less unknowns if he's healthy. Like, to me, that 13-8, like, they're just going to have a winning record if Cam is healthy. Because Cam wins when he's healthy with Ron Rivera, who's not anywhere near the coach of Belichick. And you'd say, well, this roster, the last couple of years in Carolina, their defense was atrocious. The Patriots defense was one of the better defenses last year. They have everyone coming back. Well, I guess they lost like Van Noy, but they're going to be solid on defense. They have some pieces on offense and a good offensive line, and they're always good on special teams. And they got Belichick.
So your pushback is that calling Bill a 500 coach without Tom is not fair to Bill? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'd say what Belichick became over the 20-year period, because I think it's one of the unique times where you go, each of them, you can like separate them each. We argue so much. Was it Bill or was it Tom? Here's what I know. Both of them are fucking dominant. I've seen Bill do these things that no one thinks of, right? Remember last year when he's counting down the clock under the 5 minutes on the way he like did the punt thing? And I mean, Harbaugh's losing his shit years
penalty,
ago.
It's the application of a penalty.
And didn't they change that rule this offseason? You're not allowed to run it down.
After Vrabel did it.
And then who's he a protege of? And remember who was it when Edelman threw the double pass and Harbaugh's like, he wasn't fucking lined up, and Belichick, well, that's the rule because we stole it from Alabama or whatever. And it's just, he's all like, no one disputes. Even people that hate the Patriots go, God, Belichick's a genius. It's not even like separate from just kicking ass with Tom, right? It's all these little things that, how does he think of this stuff?
Yeah, let me be clear. I'm not saying I think he's a 500 coach without Tom. I think he's much
know.
better
I just
than
think
that.
when you say that,
I just want to, just so people understand. I'm saying that's just what he has been, and if that's his floor, then with Cam he's going to be through the roof. You're saying that we shouldn't even use 500 without Tom because it includes the first year. We should only use once he really got the operation rolling. Well, in that case, you and I still reach the same conclusion, which is, how is this team not going to win 10 or 11 games?
I guess if I really wanted to get nuanced too about the pushback, the guy that he inherited, this quarterback, Drew Bledsoe, who was the former number 1 overall pick and who actually had been to a Super Bowl, right? It wasn't like he was just some overhyped number 1 pick. Like, he had success making a lot of money. 2 years later, Belichick trades him to a division rival. So ultimately, Belichick showed you he didn't even think he was that good. And at the time when he made Brady the quarterback, they liked Tom. When you go to a 6th-round quarterback, you're not thinking that you just found Tom Brady, right? They just thought Tom was better than Drew. And obviously everything played itself out, and we could talk about this all day long. I also think a pushback I'd have that I'm finding myself naturally kind of hyping this up as well as you, and I think we all think, like, if Cam's healthy, they're going to win 10 games because that's what it all shows us. Belichick showed you what he thinks of Cam Newton. I get he didn't have any offers, but he offered him a veteran minimum contract. So it's not like he's pounding the table that I think this guy's some star, right?
Yeah, but if there's one car left on the car lot and it's worth $45,000 and no one's buying it, and you have him over a barrel and you can pay him $15,000 for it, you're just going to pay him $30,000 just because it's like, well, now we both win.
But my point is, though, Guy, like, if you thought Cam could still be Cam, you would give him like a multiple year contract. Right? This is just a low risk flyer with zero downside. upside
but
high.
couldn't you argue that the reason he doesn't have that the reason you don't think he is going to be Cam again is just that he's been hurt every year now for 3 years running?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
that's
there's
not
just a
about
lot.
ability. That might just be about injury. Why give somebody more than you have to give them?
But there's also a chance that Belichick doesn't think of Cam in the terms that we're all talking about it. He just saw a value play worth the risk,
Yeah,
and he's
but-
not really thinking about it that much.
But it might also be that he goes, I don't know how I'll like coaching him.
That's my
you
point.
can't
Yeah.
deny how good he's been when he's been healthy, though, right?
I think he's played well against the Patriots twice, too, over the last
Yes,
decade.
Yeah. Barnwell, I think, wrote about that, but he also got hurt against him in the preseason. I think that's
Now,
when he got
again,
the foot
he's
injury.
played well against a lot. Like a lot of people have seen this guy play well. He's a very, very talented player, but I think there's still a lot of things to be. What's going to be fascinating is that the media won't be allowed, from like a geeky scouting standpoint. When you follow, like when you go to training camp, the entire front office of an NFL team is covering the entire league, right? Because you never know who's going to get cut. You play half the league, so you got to monitor position. One fascinating part about you and I have been to countless training camp practices over the last decade. When you go to a training camp practice, it's one thing, like, of course you expect to see Joe Staley with the starters or whatever. But there are every year guys that are signed, like, is so-and-so an immediate starter, right? Who is Cam Newton running with?
Right.
And these practices, I would imagine, are all going to be closed because of Corona. And it's not like Belichick, I had Cam running with the threes. Like, he ain't going to say anything.
Yeah, given the circumstances, I'm going to be a little more transparent with you guys. I've printed out this snap sheet spreadsheet.
What would be the first thing
Count,
Mike
spreadsheet.
Reese tweeted from practice one with Pats?
Snap counts.
Who was the starting quarterback for the ones? Now, Bill might say we're just going to rotate everyone through, but that would be one of the biggest stories, I'd say, in all of training camp, right?
Well, and if
Is
it's
Cam
50-50, it'd be completion percentages, and Cam was 7 of 14 or 8 of 10, right?
Honestly, is there a chance that Cam Newton's reps, who was the starting quarterback for the Patriots, would be one of the number one stories, and just how Brady looks at practice with these guys would be a huge story, right? Completion percentage, what he looks like throwing to Evans, maybe he's struggling with O.J. Howard, just those
I would
would
say
be
Cam
two
is.
leading
I
candidates.
think Cam is almost in some ways a bigger story, just because we just kind of assume in practice Tom will be. They'll figure that out. Like,
and
it'll be
Tom's
fine.
the starter. There's not that much unknown.
It's
Cam
not
will just be
drama.
like, Stidham started today. Cam ran with the twos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Or Cam got his chance with the ones and didn't play well.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, I think it'd probably be the number one story in the NFL. Just Cam's rotation with Belichick and how his reps are. Because no one would dispute, like, well, it's up to Josh. No, this is Bill's show, right? When they meet in the morning at 7 a.m. staff meeting to just go over what they're going to do at practice, Josh might throw it out. Here's what I'm thinking. Well, if Bill ain't thinking that, it's changing to what Bill's thinking. I
Right.
want to see Cam get more reps, or I want to see Stidham get this. And that's the one part about the NFL that, as training camp hits, guy, there's going to be a lot of unknown. And we talk about this for a living. My friends do this for a living, covering it and try to the information. How's it going to get out? You actually can manipulate it with your own, the Belichick guys that got nailed for the Bengals. Like, you could put out your own videos on the website, and people in the media are going to have to take that and just try to, prognosticate off just some videos that get tweeted out. Damn, is that Jalen Reagor running with the threes? Is this a mispick? Like, these takes are just going to happen because no one's there to say anything.
Yeah. I think any video that gets put out will be put out in a way that you cannot get any conclusion from it.
Or it'll make a guy look good, like a guy they drafted look good. I think that there'll be a lot of that. Like, Brandon
John
Ayuk,
Ross breakout year.
Exactly. Dante Pettis back. Sack from Solomon Thomas. Like, guys, Jesus.